All right, quick question before we start. Have you ever heard developers casually say, "It's on GitHub," and you just nodded along like, yeah, totally, but deep down you weren't 100% sure what that actually meant? Here's the thing. GitHub isn't just for hardcore programmers typing code all day. Even if you're a non-technical developer, a designer, a product manager, a founder, or someone who just works closely with tech teams, GitHub actually matters way more to you than you might think. So in simple terms, what is GitHub? Think of GitHub as a shared online workspace where teams store their projects, track changes, and work together. Kind of like Google Docs, but for building software and digital products. It's where ideas turn into real features, where progress is visible, and where teams stay in sync. And don't worry, you don't need to know how to code to understand GitHub. You don't need to write a single line of code to use it in a meaningful way. This video is not about technical commands or confusing jargon. It's about understanding GitHub at a high level, in plain English. By the end of this video, I'll explain what GitHub is, how non-technical developers can actually use it, and what you should know so you can confidently work with technical teams without feeling lost or overwhelmed. So if you've ever wanted GitHub explained in a simple, no-stress way, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Alright, so now let's actually talk about what GitHub is in a way that makes sense even if you have never written a code in your life. The easiest way to think about GitHub is this. GitHub is a home for projects. When a team is building an app, a website, or any digital product, they need one central place where everything related to that project lives, not scattered across emails, WhatsApp messages, or random folders on someone's laptop. GitHub is that central home. Inside GitHub, each project lives in something called a repository, or a repo for short. Don't let the word scare you. A repo is basically just a project folder, that's it. It holds files, documents, designs, and code, all in one organized place that the whole team can access. Now, GitHub is not just about storing files. It's also about managing work over time. Every time someone makes a change to the project, maybe they fix a bug, add a feature, or update something, that change is saved as a commit. A commit is like a saved checkpoint. It is a record that says here's what changed, when it changed, and who changed it. This is one of the biggest reasons why teams rely on GitHub. Nothing gets lost. You can always look back and see what happened yesterday, last week, or even months ago. You might also hear developers say words like push and pull. Push simply means sending your changes to GitHub so the rest of the team can see them. Pull means bringing the latest changes from GitHub onto your own system so you are up to date. That's it, no magic, no deep technical meaning. Push equals upload your work and pull equals download the latest work. So why does all this matter? Because GitHub makes sure everyone is on the same page. Developers, non-technical team members, product managers, everyone can see what's happening. You know what's done, what's been worked on, and what changed recently. This is why teams trust GitHub. It creates transparency, accountability, and a shared source of truth for the project. So even if you're non-technical, understanding GitHub at this level helps you follow progress, communicate better with developers, and feel more confident in tech-driven projects. Now, this is the part most non-technical people are surprised about. You can actually use GitHub without writing any code at all. Let's talk about following project progress. When you open a project on GitHub, you can immediately see what's happening. You can see when work was last updated, how active the project is, and what's currently being worked on. This means you don't have to keep asking developer, hey, what's the status? A lot of that information is already visible. Next is viewing updates and changes over time. Remember those checkpoints we talked about earlier called commits? Even if you don't understand the code itself, you can still see when changes were made, how often work is happening, and what kind of updates are being pushed. This gives you a timeline of progress, which is incredibly useful for planning reviews and discussions. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful features for non-technical users, issues and comments. Think of issues as shared discussion threads. They can be used to report bugs, request new features, ask questions, or give feedback, all in one page. They are directly tied with the project. As a non-technical developer, you can open an issue to say something like this page feels slow, or can we change this button here? You don't need to explain how to fix it, just what you're seeing or what you want. And inside issues, you can leave comments. This keeps conversations organized and visible to the whole team, instead of being buried in private messages or email. Finally, GitHub helps you understand what's being worked on and what is finished. Developers use label issues as in progress, completed, or closed. By simply looking at these labels or the status of issues, you can quickly tell what's done, what's ongoing, and what's still pending. So instead of guessing, GitHub gives you clarity. In short, GitHub lets non-technical developers stay informed, communicate clearly, and participate in product building process without needing to touch code at all. And once you understand this, GitHub stops feeling developer-only tool and starts feeling like a team collaboration platform. Now let's talk about what non-technical developers should actually know about GitHub. Not in a technical way, but in a practical way that helps you work better with your team. First, there are a few basic GitHub terms that are worth recognizing, even if you never use them yourself. When someone says repo, just think project folder. When you hear commit, think a recorded update. When a developer mentions issues, that's simply a task, a problem, or a discussion. And when something is merged or closed, it usually means that work is done and accepted. You don't need to master these words. Just understanding them removes a lot of confusion in meetings and conversation. Now let's talk about teamwork and accountability, because this is where GitHub creates a shared space where work, discussions, and decisions are visible to everyone involved. Instead of relying on memory or private messages, everything has a clear history. You can see what was agreed on, what was changed, and when it happened. This naturally creates accountability, not in a negative way, but in a healthy way. Everyone knows what they are responsible for, and progress isn't hidden away. Next, here's why knowing GitHub improves collaboration with technical teams. When non-technical developers understand how GitHub fits into the workflow, communication becomes smoother. You can give clearer feedback, ask better questions, and align expectations more easily. Instead of saying, "Why isn't this done yet?" you can say, "I saw this task is still open. Is anything blocking it?" That small shift changes the entire tone of collaboration. Finally, let's connect this to real-world product development. In modern teams, GitHub isn't just a developer tool. It's part of the product lifecycle. From early ideas and feature requests to fixes and releases, GitHub quietly supports the entire process. Whether you're building a startup, working in a company, or collaborating with freelancers, GitHub often acts as the backbone that keeps everything organized and moving forward. So as a non-technical developer, you don't need to use GitHub the same way developers do. But understanding it gives you visibility, confidence, and influence in tech-driven projects. And honestly, that understanding alone puts you ahead of most people. Since we have only discussed about theory and not actually seen what GitHub can do, we will now go ahead and see a demonstration for ourselves. So for this demonstration, I will be just creating a new repository and adding some files into it and show you guys the basic functions like committing, pulling, and pushing, all those stuff. So let's get right into it. So first of all, you need to do is create your own repository. When you're inside your dashboard, the main page of your GitHub account, all you have to do is just click on this green icon called new here. This is how you usually create a new repository. And over here, you can actually give your own name, description, whether it should be private or public. Let's go ahead and give a name to our repository now. So I have gone ahead and given it the name first repo. I will keep the description as this since I don't need to give a description for now. And now we go ahead and create the repository. And just like that, you now have your own GitHub repository. And there are several ways to actually add files into this repository. One way is using the command line as shown in here. You can give these commands inside the command line of your code editor and you can get started within files into the repository. Or for now, we will actually just do it manually and show you how to do this properly. I will go ahead and click on this upload an existing file here, and you can choose from your own computer or drag and drop that into a repository. For now, I will choose my own file from here. And just like so, after selecting the file, your file will be visible over here, and this commit changes mean adding the folder into your main GitHub repository. So basically, when you're uploading the file, you need to say what this files contain, what was the purpose you added this file. So I will just show you a basic demonstration about how this commit changes description should look like. So I have gone ahead and given it the two descriptions and in the file for demo and additions file to show you guys how to do a basic file upload using GitHub. And now all you have to do is just click on commit changes. And just like that, everything is properly added into your GitHub repository. You can track who is working on what and how. And now you can see all the changes that is made in this repository by you from this insights page, you can see all the commits, who are the top committers and who actually added anything into this repository. All those things can be tracked via this GitHub. And this README one is actually just a basic description about how to install your file and how to run it if it is Webpack or web application, how to install the packages relevant to it. All those data should be added inside a basic README. And you see this thing called pull request here. These pull requests are basically people who want to make changes into your repository through their own system. So that will count as a pull request, and whoever the owner is will go through this pull request, will look at it and see if it is actually breaking the existing code. All those stuff will be monitored by him, and he can approve it or decline that pull request according to the changes that he's making. And I also discussed about the issues here, all the issues you are facing currently inside the system. You can actually label them properly and add it under new issue. All these things are doable inside GitHub. So this is how GitHub actually works, and I encourage you to go ahead and read their official documentation to get a thorough idea about what GitHub actually does. If you are serious about building solutions like this and you are willing to learn step by step and work on real projects, you're welcome to join our free community. Inside, we teach everything from ground up, starting from zero with practical hands-on guidance. And if you're someone who's interested in using this solution but doesn't want to dive into technical side and instead wants to move faster and scale sooner, you can also partner with us and hire our tech team to build these systems for you. Either way, the goal is the same: helping you move from ideas to real working solutions.